wrath of the great and powerful Oz. I said come back tomorrow.
If you are really great and powerful, you'll keep your promises.
Do you presume to criticize the great Oz? You ungrateful creatures think yourselves lucky that I'm giving you audience tomorrow instead of 20 years from now.
Oh.
The great Oz has spoken.
Oh.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. The great Oz has spoken.
Who are you?
Oh, I am the great and powerful Wizard of Oz.
You are? I don't believe you.
No, I'm afraid it's true. There's no other wizard except me. You humbug! Yes, it's exactly so. I'm a humbug.
Oh, you're a very bad man.
Hi, so the wizard or wizards behind the curtain. Who are they? And what are they doing? And where is our focus? Is our focus on that wizard? Or is it continuing to be on those who they are coming out to attack? And then is it also on the minions that they are using? Now everyone has to give account and be responsible for their own actions, but this is a tactic of conquering and dividing and keeping one's true self hidden from others. So I want to make this video today to just raise awareness and help people to look at the bigger picture, to make sure that you are digging deeper and realizing that there's more than meets the eye. Now I'm going to include a video clip by late Congresswoman Nancy Schaefer, and I do not think that you're able to speak about the child predator services unless you honor her work. There have been so many before us who have sacrificed their lives in order to expose this corruption, and there are those today who are being attacked and who are being targeted and retaliated against for using our voices to expose what's going on. So this truly is not about fear-mongering. This is about operating in love, because fear and anger and hate is what these vampires feed off of. And so we want to raise our vibrations to a point of operating out of wisdom and love and solutions to this human trafficking that is destroying one family after the other. And we do have to expose this in order to put an end to it. This type of human trafficking that is incentivized and is using our families, our children, every parent, and our elderly to make a living off of all of us is not okay. And too many are blind and asleep at the wheel. And I would encourage you, caseworkers and judges and attorneys and anyone else, everyone else involved, to put down those government funded textbooks and to listen to real live people who have nothing to gain but that of the freedom of our families. There's nothing that a parent wants more than to have their children or elderly parent to be in a place of love. And that would be at home with their families. Now, this is not about true cases of abuse and neglect, where I have spoken about before that a true court of record before a jury of one's peers is needed. That would be Amendment 7 in the Constitution, a common law court. That is the only true court of record. So you caseworkers who are learning that for parents to go into your anti-family kangaroo courts, which is part of your private business association, that they are getting due process, that their voices are going to be heard, and that justice is going to be served. No, you are being deceived. And that is not the way the actual laws work. We need to realize that just because someone has a robe on, or a uniform, or a badge, or credentials, does not mean that they speak truth. So it is up to the people, men and women, to come together in truth and love in order to bring about the changes that we want to see in this world. And so I want to give honor to late Congresswoman Nancy Schaefer, who did an amazing job just exposing what is going on. And thank you for passing the baton to others to continue in putting an end to this form of human trafficking. All forms are interconnected, and we need to be the voice for those whose voices have been silenced, and help others to find their voices, because when we bring our voices together and stand hand in hand in love, we are able to break down the walls. We are able to expose the wizard or wizards behind the curtain. And as you see with the Wizard of Oz, he has no power. We are the ones that hold the power within each one of us, and that's been hidden from us. So stand up, take courage, and know that you are more than what you've been led to believe. And our children and our elderly parents and our families will be brought together by each one of us doing our part to end human trafficking. Thank you so much for watching. Namaste.
Well, my name is Nancy Schaefer, and I'm from the state of Georgia in the United States. And thank you for your gracious invitation to join you tonight. And thanks to all of you who have made this incredible World Congress of Families #5 in Amsterdam possible. It's a privilege for me to join you tonight and to be with you in some pro-family policy here. I will share with you on the unlimited power of Child Protective Services. I served in the Georgia State Senate, and after 4 years of viewing the ruthless and unsparing actions of Child Protective Services, also called CPS, which I will use tonight, I wrote a scathing report entitled "The Corrupt Business of Child Protective Services." Thank you. The report cost me my Senate seat. Here's some copies of the report, if you'd like to get one. However, there are causes worth losing over, and this is one. I'm going to talk about some of the problems and then some realistic, maybe, solutions for families and children, and maybe look to some steps that we can take. This is not to say that there are not those children in wretched situations who need to be removed. There are, and we all agree. But tonight, I'm talking about those children removed from their homes intentionally for profit. Children are seized unnecessarily from their families due to the federal aid created in 1974 entitled the Adoption and Safe Families Act. It offers financial incentives to the states that increase adoption numbers. To receive the adoption incentives or bonuses, local CPS must have more children. They must have more merchandise to sell. Funding is available when a child is placed in a foster home with strangers or placed in a mental health facility and medicated, usually against the parents' wishes. Parents are victimized by the system. that makes a profit for holding children longer and bonuses for not returning children to their parents. This is abuse of power. It is lack of accountability. And it is a growing criminal political phenomenon spreading around the globe. Oftentimes, but not always, poor parents are targeted to lose their children because they do not have the wherewithal to hire an attorney or fight the system. Being poor and lacking proper housing does not mean your children should be removed. CPS has redefined poor to mean psychologically inferior. Therefore, it is in the best interest of the child to be removed. Best interest, of course, has also been redefined at the child's expense. It has been reported over and over that 6 times as many children die in foster care than in the general public. Once a child is legally kidnapped and placed in official safety, the child is far more likely to suffer abuse, including sexual molestation and/or rape. Case workers and social workers are often guilty of fraud. They withhold and destroy evidence, and they seek wrongly to terminate parental rights while being protected by state immunity. There is a huge bureaucracy made up of judges, court-appointed attorneys, guardian ad litems, social workers, state employees, court investigators, therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, foster parents, adoptive parents, and on, who are looking to the children in state care for their job security. Judges have control over private living arrangements and income of 48.3 million Americans. The United States Census Bureau reported in 2002 that $40 billion in transfer payments were made between households of custody parents and other parents. That money, $40 billion, is under the direction and control of family court judges in environments covered with confidentiality laws that protect the wrong people. Fathers are victims of this unjust system. Child support payments, even without having visits with their children, are choking the very life out of fathers. 3 fathers, of whom I am aware and have been in touch with, committed suicide in the last 12 months because they lost the opportunity to even visit with their children. These are crimes against humanity for financial gain. Rights are removed from parents, human rights, civil rights, and even religious rights. One illustration of what took place in my district is that after so many calls, I decided to call a meeting in one of the counties of my own district. I personally called 37 families that had been in touch with me who had all lost their children, grandchildren. I had them meet me in the library one Saturday morning. We started at 9 o'clock and we ended at 9 o'clock. We had 50 families standing outside the door that could not get in. We didn't have time to talk with them. There was incredible anguish and profound suffering from these families. Some children had been taken off the school bus, taken out of the hospitals, or taken out of their homes in the middle of the night, and even worse. It was just an incredible ordeal. These parents, trapped in the system, become like refugees. They're dazed and glazed, and have no one of whom to turn. They do not know what to do, and the loss of their children is devastating. After having worked in this arena for several years, I do not believe that a single child comes out whole after having been in this system. Many foster children make up the homeless population of today. I introduced legislation, Senate Bill 415, in my last session. A substitute bill was written at the last minute by the chairman of the Judicial Committee. All the strong points of my bill had been compromised. I was told, accept it, Senator. At least you will get some legislation passed. And I answered with, obviously, you do not know me. I did not come to the Capitol to get legislation passed. I came to make a difference. What can be done? An independent audit should be called on every state of all Child Protective Services departments. I am in touch with congressmen and state officials, and the door may be possibly opening very slowly. A federal congressional hearing is needed. But let me add, due to the hundreds upon hundreds of cases that I've been called to consider, I placed calls to state senators, representatives in their respective states across the country, asking them to help me with certain families. And I was told, if I help that family, or if I help you, I will lose my job. Remove, abolish the federal and state financial incentives, and those are taxpayer dollars. Those dollars have turned CPS into a business that takes children and separates families for money. Open family court. Remove the confidentiality laws. Give parents their rights verbally and in writing. I even feel that to terminate the rights of parents, the case should be heard before a jury. Family rights and parents' rights must be protected. We do not need more influence like the UN's Convention on the Rights of the Child. It's anti-parent, anti-child, and anti-common sense for the family. There has to be perseverance for any great reform, and great reform is needed in this area. As Charles Spurgeon put it, how do you tame a lion that is well fed? First, he must be brought down. Second, his stomach must be lowered. How do you tame Child Protective Services? It may be only by closing it completely and starting over at the beginning with pro-family values. In closing, let me remind you that there is case law from state appellate and federal district courts and up to the United States Supreme Court, all of which affirm the constitutionality of the rights of parents to actually be parents to their children. There's biblical law too. It goes like this: speak up for those who can't speak for themselves, and for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and the needy. Thank you.
While other parents play with their kids in this park, this couple can only wonder where their 5 kids are right now.
Just that thought, it's indescribable.
In this document, CPS states the reason for taking the couple's children is failure to provide a safe environment. Their dad, Anthony Dennison, says he's between jobs. On March 22nd, CPS was contacted after Dennison was seen standing at this intersection with a sign that read, "Dad laid off. Anything's a blessing."
Basically, they were just out there, hanging out while Dad was trying to do what Dad can do.
You were not using the kids to panhandle?
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. I was out there by myself. The kids and my wife, they were standing to the side in a safe, secluded area.
Anthony's wife, Rita, also says the kids were not being used to panhandle, but she says that's the picture CPS painted in court. Their oldest child is 8. Then they have a 2-year-old, a 1-year-old, and 6-week-old twins. All are now in CPS custody.
I was breastfeeding. They just took them away, and they're not trying to hear anything I have to say at court.
The couple admits to having a hard time financially. They are living with relatives, but say they are keeping a roof over their kids' heads and keeping them fed and clothed. But that's not good enough, they say, for CPS.
Yeah, they want to terminate my parental rights.
Although neither parent has been accused of mistreating the kids, if CPS gets its way, they will never live with their parents or even any relatives ever again.
If I wasn't a responsible parent, I wouldn't even feel so bad. But I know that I do the best that I can every day to make sure they're okay.
This song is called Eyes of Love. Remind us to look through the eyes of love, into the eyes of love. Dropping all labels, seeing someone for who they truly are. An authentic being of light. We're all part of this beautiful mystery. We all have our own unique stories in this. But if we can drop the stories and truly see someone and offer that love, that's really where it's at.
How many lifetimes have I spent searching for something that can't be explained, for something that can't be tamed, searching for someone to show me the way, tell me that it's okay to work through my suffering. So I look within, find myself anew. Let the light shine through in all the things that I do. If darkness should fall, I'll call upon this light. Remember my heart was touched when I felt the Shakti rush. As I look into the eyes of love, I look into the eyes of love, I look into the eyes of love, I look into the eyes of love. My heart is open, but there is more to come. More less to this mind, more work to be done. The masks I wear are slowly peeling off, 'cause there's no need to hide from this truth inside. A seed's been planted and this tree will grow, and the fruits that I sow will surely feed the soul. So my friend, I am done waiting. Yes, I'm here now, and I surrender as I look into the eyes of love. I look into the eyes of love. I look into the eyes of love. Yes, I look into the eyes of love. And now I'm looking through the eyes of love. Oh yes, I'm looking through the eyes of love. And all I see, I'm looking through. I'm looking through. I'm looking through. Looking through.
Looking through the eyes of love into the eyes of love.